ช่วงต่อไปนะคะจะเป็นช่วงของการเสวนาในหัวข้อ Emerging Case of Local and Global Social Investment Funds ซึ่งช่วงนี้นะคะเราได้รับเกียรติจากผู้เชี่ยวชาญจากทั้งในและต่างประเทศนะคะที่จะมาร่วมแลกเปลี่ยนมุมมองกันนะคะดิฉันขอมอบช่วงนี้นะคะให้กับวิทยากรและผู้ดำเนินรายการบนเวทีค่ะ Mr. Andrew Moorhead, Executive Vice Chairman of Asian Venture Philanthropy Network, Mr. Francis Ngaiwa Singh, Founder and Chief Executive Officer of Social Ventures Hong Kong คุณวิเชียรพงศธรกรรมการผู้จัดการใหญ่กลุ่มบริษัทพรีเมียร์ค่ะและดำเนินรายการช่วงนี้โดยคุณสุนิตเชษฐาผู้อำนวยการสถาบัน Change Fusion ค่ะ
Hi สวัสดีตอนเช้านะครับครับก็เราหวังเป็นอย่างยิ่งว่าวันนี้คงเซสชันนี้คงจะสนุกสนานนะครับแล้วก็ถ้าเกิดมีคำถามอะไรก็ถามได้เลยนะครับก็คิดว่าเดี๋ยวเราจะเริ่มจากว่าให้แต่ละท่านซึ่งก็มีบทบาทมากในการคล้ายๆสร้างตัวการลงทุนทางสังคมในแต่ละประเทศนะครับอย่างของคุณแอนดรูเนี่ยก็เดี๋ยวเขาคงเล่าให้ฟังนะครับแต่ว่าก็มีบทบาทมากในการสร้างกระแสนี้ในสกอตแลนด์สามารถสร้างเป็นคนเริ่มสร้างกองทุนที่แบบมีหลักเป็นเข้าใจว่าเป็น100 ล้านปอนด์เลยนะครับก็อันนี้ก็เดี๋ยวก็จะมีส่วนของคุณฟรานซิสเนี่ยก็คล้ายกันนะครับแต่ว่าทำในฮ่องกงนะครับแล้วก็คุณวิเชียรก็ในประเทศไทยนะครับก็เดี๋ยวอาจจะเริ่มที่คุณแอนดรูก่อน so we'll invite you to speak and please tell us a little bit about your program. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Can everyone hear? Yes, I think everyone can hear now. Good morning, and thank you very much for your kind invitation to be here this morning. No matter where you travel in the world, there are societal issues of poverty, health inequality, education, and environment. AVPN, the organization that, thank you. I like the way technology is landing in my lap here. The AVPN exists to find new ways to address societal challenges. At the heart of it, there's a recognition of the need to bring together the various sectors, that things aren't achieved in isolation by either the business sector, the governmental sector, or the social sector. We are an organization of 166 members, but fast growing. We cut across all sectors, and fundamental to the proposition is that if you're going to tackle social problems across the world, there needs to be greater transparency, greater metrics, and an increase in the flow of financial, human, and intellectual capital. Now, I realised as I listened to Watanan that I may say similar things at different times. From a very short period in Asia, I've come to realise that to agree with Watanan's a very good idea. It normally means you're right. But in the 15 minutes that I have this morning, I'm going to cover some general thoughts. I should also say that next week I will be back in Bangkok for 3 days, and we'll be very happy to have more detailed meetings and talk more about AVPN. But as well as talking about AVPN this morning, I will also spend quite a bit of time talking about my last venture in the UK, which was a venture philanthropy, or a series of venture philanthropy funds. And I talk about those not to say that they're the best examples in the world. I might happen to think they are, but really to try and make some more general points and to aid discussions. And I'll also say a few words at the end about other models. My background is in banking. I'm not especially proud of that, but I did that for about 20 years before getting a real break and got really lucky and was invited to run a large corporate foundation in the UK, a giveaway foundation providing financial capital in grant form. I run that foundation for a number of years before then spending a year out in 2006, sometimes spent in Asia, sometimes spent in Australia, US, looking at different models of engaged philanthropy before setting up Inspiring Scotland. You've had very warm words said about Inspiring Scotland and AVPN this morning. I feel as though the only way now is down as I speak about them in detail. A few slides on AVPN just to explain. This is an unashamed commercial. We need members. We need to grow the network. We need to do more, particularly in Thailand. Watanan, in a slide towards the end of her presentation, talked about the lack of space for coming together. I joined the European equivalent, in fact, I'm still on the board of EVPA, when I was designing and thinking through the creation of Inspiring Scotland. And I found it's a very interesting and useful place to learn and to grow together. The membership of AVPN, as I said, is 166. You see the different sectors from where we draw our members. Members bring with them financial, human, and intellectual capital through all of those different sectors. I won't talk through them all. But out of that we create what we call VPOs, venture philanthropy organizations, that deliver money, deliver time and energy towards social programs for greater social impact. This is a slightly expanded version of a slide, I think, that Watanan showed earlier. And again, I won't necessarily go through all aspects of it. But we recognize that the world out there is very broad. Everything from as you look at it, from the left-hand side of that chart, which is giveaway money, which is foundations and private philanthropists, through to money that is deployed primarily for financial results, but with social aims alongside. We need it all, but perhaps the principal message I would make across that spectrum is that we need all of that money to work and act similarly, to have similar senses of transparency and governance and metrics, because typically social purpose organizations can move through that spectrum from grant funding through towards impact investing. So I think it's important that all types of capital work similarly across the spectrum. What do I mean by a venture philanthropy organization? Briefly just show what I think we see as the core model. AVPN doesn't make any judgment between giveaway money through to impact investing. We are a broad church. And equally, we are agnostic in terms of the social issues our members pursue. That is a very personal thing often, and often can be related to the corporate entity in its areas of expertise. So we embrace all forms of social, societal issue. But essentially, reading this again from the left, social investment there's a terrible thing in terminology in this industry of using different words to say different things. Social investment organizations, that can be any gathering or grouping that provide resource. But it's about providing the financial capital backed up by strategy, marketing, legal, and so on and so forth. And really doing a wraparound thing around about social purpose organizations, whether they be pure charities or NPOs, or whether they be social enterprises. It's about also bringing in co-investment, and it's all towards increased social impact. We see that as a core model of venture philanthropy. But I was primarily invited to come along and speak about Inspiring Scotland this morning. And it plays into a number of the points that Watanan made in the previous presentation about convening, about collaborative action, and so on. I created, excuse me, I created Inspiring Scotland after 10 years of giving away money. There were people who said the 20 years of my banking career and my credit history, I gave away money then as well. Anyway, the 10 years of giving away money, but constantly asking about whether that money was making the most impact it possibly could and working as hard as it should. But also, there was something quite significant from what I would describe as the demand side, the social purpose organisations that we were working with in that time. Were we actually doing the right thing by them? I felt we were slightly short-term. I felt that the funding world that surrounded social purpose was overly fragmented. I felt that it didn't foster collaboration. It more created competition around about resources. And I thought the challenge with that was that the complexity of key social issues actually needs that collaborative approach that we heard about earlier. And I think I was also striving for a more rational environment. We hear a lot about there not being enough money, but I think until we use money in a rational way, I don't think we can actually make that assertion. So I was looking for rational. And I took off in 2006. I was still working for the corporate foundation at that time. My board decided it would be a good idea to send me away for a year. I wasn't entirely sure they wanted me back, but they sent me away for a year to look at models and come back with ideas and try to take things forward in a different way. So from that year of research, what did I come back with by way of underpinning values and the model that I put forward? I said it earlier, I fundamentally believe that you do not create change unless you bring government, the private sector and the not-for-profit sector into the same place. Absolutely fundamental. All bring different attributes and strengths. Government brings policy, knowledge. Government sets the rules and regulations. And it can either be an enabler or it can be a barrier. Very important to see it and to approach as an enabler. Private sector brings various things we heard about earlier. I won't repeat those. But the models and the disciplines are very valuable around social delivery as well as around profit work. But the non-profits bring values, beliefs, motivations, and skills to the table. It's about mutual respect, I think. It's about those sectors respecting the strengths of each other and driving forward. The second point in that slide was that so much of the resource that I found going into the social sector, this happens anywhere in the world, the time frame is set by the giver of the resource rather than the recipient. You wouldn't do that in an investment situation. The investment is made on the basis of the business plan of the enterprise you're investing in. Why should it be different in a charitable setting? The importance of human capital, and I'll say more about that later, but that can be paid for in pro bono. The need for that collaboration, not just between funders, but I believe in fostering collaboration between social purpose organisations, because very rarely are the issues as simple as single approaches. Echoing a point from earlier, failure was okay, and I saw lots of failure, and I created lots of failure as well. But the model that we used at Inspiring Scotland, very simple model. Research, we heard about that earlier. We didn't actually compare our notes before we spoke today, but I think that baselining and understanding where you start from was vitally important. That created a neutral platform that brought investors. Now, I called people investors. All of the money that I raised at Inspiring Scotland was donation money, and it was all used by way of donation. We didn't get into impact investing. It will probably go there in time. But I called people investors because of the feeling that created. Second stage of the model, the third stage of the model, is due diligence, and deep due diligence to try and find social purpose organisations with high levels of motivation, strong logic models, and so on. This next stage of the model is the wraparound thing. It's about providing all of the skills that are sometimes very difficult for social purpose organisations to gather around about the delivery. And the final stage is to be very open in what's working and what's not working. So why did people come around this? I think people like leverage, and they like the feeling of multiplying their resource. I think if you're going to do social intervention deeply, it costs money. So collaboration creates a sharing of costs. I think also there was a degree of capacity, and many private philanthropists and foundations from outside of Scotland where we were working could see a capacity and could see a reach that they couldn't create on their own. And I think also, importantly, that if you do things in collaboration, I believe you can take a longer-term approach. You can syndicate in the same way as banks might syndicate risk. And also people like to be part of a new vision. Why did people not come behind it? I'm just sharing some learnings just now. I think some people need to feel recognition, need to see their name in lights above projects. I think we attracted philanthropists and foundations that were comfortable with themselves and comfortable with a lack of recognition. I think a partnership needs you to cede control and power. Some people perceived a cost. Venture philanthropy it costs money to give money away well. The Inspiring Scotland model, 8% of the money we raised was used to build the human capital element. And some people perceived that as high. And some people weren't in our cause spaces. And I was launching a venture philanthropy fund as Europe was going to economic meltdown. So that wasn't necessarily good timing. There was other hurdles, perceived lack of investable ventures. The first fund we raised, actually, we had 172 formal proposals, so I think we knocked that one in the head. People are risk-averse wherever. It's not simply an Asian thing. Building trust on both sides, both within investors and the organisations we worked with, took time. And rules and regulations have got to be dealt with, and impatience. But in 5 years, we raised, and I'm not sure whether, I'm talking thousands of millions. I won't try and express that number. We raised $90 million US, invested in 60 social purpose organisations, built a team of 24 staff. We had a number of many successes, but quite a number of failures as well. The failures tended to come. We carried out a fairly strong risk analysis of those organisations we thought we should work with, and we assessed risk in terms of the people risk, and we assessed risk on the other hand in terms of the model. We took a couple of flyers where we took a high risk on the people and a high risk on the logic model at the heart of the programme, and we got a couple of those wrong. But very proud of the fact that we developed over 200 strong pro bono pool. Over the 4 or 5 years we worked, Cambridge University and a Bill and Melinda Gates fellow there carried out a process of validation in the work. That report is available on the website of AVPN and Inspiring Scotland. But it's the human capital aspect that probably makes me most proud and delighted by the outcomes. We saw stronger governance. We saw the management teams develop. We saw robust logic models underpinning the programs. And all of those factors you see in that slide, the approval ratings from the social purpose organisations we worked with ranged from around 75 to 95% across the whole range of 10 measures that research covered. So a few key points on Inspiring Scotland. We started from issues. The issues we looked at were youth unemployment, early years attachment in children. We had a fund around free play, moving children away from Xbox and PlayStation and having them climb trees and jump in streams again and build resilience and so on through that, and also a couple of other funds. I should emphasise that venture philanthropy funds, we believe, can develop out of the foundation sector, as Minds did, but also out of government activity and out of private philanthropists and corporate. But AVPN is proactively engaged, and I hope to engage more in Thailand in supporting the growth and bring, hopefully, some practical experience into this space. Watanan talked about types of models. I think the commonality is the methodology of strong due diligence, strong metrics around about the programs across the different types of social outcomes, blended outcomes, and purely financial outcomes. So I think we speak a common language, and it's important that we do. It's a vibrant and growing sector. I would finish on a couple of recent examples of approach that's slightly different to pure venture philanthropy. Venture capital with social purpose is a growing movement, and you could call that impact investing. Probably the longest established and one of the most successful that I would ask you to look at if you haven't already done is Bridges Ventures in London, which has a series of funds that are very much on the financial first model, but each of the investments they make must also show social return, either through increased or enhanced environmental impacts or creating jobs and opportunities in areas of disadvantage and so on. And they have proven beyond doubt that financial returns, or strong financial returns, are impossible in that space. The second point there, the final point at the bottom, is a newer phenomenon. And it's happening in the US, it's happening in Australia, it's happening in Europe, and that's social investment bonds, where private money, that can be from corporate or from private individuals or foundations, is being used to run social programs. And those social outcomes achieved in those programs and the financial or the economic value of those is then recognized in a repayment, normally from a government counterparty. So the first example in the UK was around about reoffending, where private money is funding a series of interventions to reduce reoffending rates. And government's got a very clear cost of reoffending and having people in prison. So where programs can evidence beyond doubt that they have kept people out of prison, those programs or the investors who provided the money receive a payment from government, which is part of the savings that government make. I think I've said enough, probably. Probably got over my time. Just some thoughts to throw out there for discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. งั้นสรุปสั้นๆนะครับก็คือว่าคุณแอนดรูเนี่ยครับตะกี้เขาก็มาเล่าประสบการณ์เรื่องของการตั้งจริงๆก็คือตั้งกองทุนเพื่อการลงทุนทางสังคมที่ใหญ่ที่สุดอันหนึ่งในสกอตแลนด์นะครับนี่เป็นคนริเริ่มเองเลยนะครับมีมูลค่าเป็นเงินไทยประมาณ 3,000 ล้านบาทนะครับแล้วก็บทเรียนที่สำคัญของเขาก็คือว่าคือเขาก็อันที่หนึ่งก็คือเลือกประเด็นที่มันมีความสำคัญทางสังคมจริงๆแล้วก็สร้างความร่วมมือนะครับจากคนร่วมสนับสนุนจำนวนมากนะครับไม่ว่าจะเป็นบุคคลที่มีสินทรัพย์สูงหรือว่าบริษัทต่างๆนะครับหรือหน่วยงานต่างๆเนี่ยแล้วก็มาร่วมสร้างคล้ายๆความตกลงร่วมกันในระยะยาวที่จะลงทุนเป็นเรื่องๆไปนะครับแล้วก็โดยที่เขาก็จะเน้นอีกอย่างนึงก็คือทำ baseline research ก็คือว่าในประเด็นทางสังคมที่อยากจะเข้าไปแก้เนี่ยไม่ใช่ว่ารอให้มีองค์กรทางสังคมหรือว่ากิจการเพื่อสังคมเนี่ยมาเสนอโครงการแต่อย่างเดียวแต่ว่าเข้าไปวิเคราะห์จริงๆว่าในประเด็นนั้นๆเช่นเรื่องของการศึกษาเรื่องของเด็กเนี่ยมันมีปัญหาอยู่ตรงไหนช่องว่างอยู่ตรงไหนผู้เล่นที่ดีที่สุดคือใครและถ้าจะลงทุนเข้าไปเนี่ยมันจะต้องสร้างผลอะไรมันขาดอะไรในเรื่องนั้นๆก็คือว่ามีการทำวิเคราะห์แล้วก็มีการประเมินผลตัวกองทุนเนี่ยว่าสุดท้ายเมื่อลงทุนไปแล้วเนี่ยมันไปเปลี่ยนภาพรวมมากน้อยแค่ไหนอย่างไรเทียบกับเบสไลน์ด้วยนะครับแล้วก็สุดท้ายก็จะเป็นประเด็นว่าเน้นเรื่องของการร่วมลงทุนในเชิงบุคลากรมากด้วยนะครับก็คือว่ามีการเข้าไปสร้างศักยภาพของตัวกิจการเพื่อสังคมหรือองค์กรไม่แสวงหาผลกำไรที่เข้าไปร่วมลงทุนนะครับแล้วก็สามารถดึงเอาผู้เชี่ยวชาญนะครับที่จากองค์กรต่างๆภายนอกเนี่ยเข้าไปเป็นที่ปรึกษาหรือคนร่วมสนับสนุนที่เรียกว่าโปรโบโนเนี่ยได้มากกว่า200คนนะครับก็อันนี้เรียบร้อยนะครับก็ตะกี้เป็นประเด็นของคุณแอนดรูนะครับแล้วก็เพิ่นสปีกคนต่อไปเขาก็จัด